In today's video, how long does it take to get shredded? Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from Physique.com, and today, I'm going to answer a question about how long it takes to get shredded. I'm going to kind of keep it short. I'm here at the Physique studio, and I got to say, I'm about 10 days into this transformation challenge. I'm feeling a lot more muscular. I've lost some body fat. I've put some muscle back on. I've trained and had my diet on track. I just finished my third workout of this week. I did 5 last week, which for me is a big step forward. I was doing probably 1 to 2 workouts a week for a little while there. But I'm back to the bodybuilding ways. And so a question came on my Instagram direct message. So I'll put that on the screen here for you. And the gentleman is 18 years old, 6 foot tall, and about 215 pounds. And he wants to know how long it takes to get shredded. And I've got a lot of experience here, but I want to caution those who are going through this. There's some very important information here. And if you like this type of information around getting shredded, building muscle, losing body fat, having the physique of your dreams, hit subscribe. That's what I love to do here. I love to answer your questions. And you can go to my Instagram direct message, send me a message. So first of all, I want to make the distinction between like getting leaner and getting shredded. I consider shredded what we do when we get on a bodybuilding stage, right? It's a body fat percentage that's probably not sustainable for most people year round. It's a body fat percentage that looks amazing on stage, but probably doesn't look that good in clothes, right? It's a body fat percentage where you're gonna have to push through some barriers that most people don't wanna push through. So that's where this advice is coming from. And first things first, the most important aspect of getting shredded is keeping muscle, okay? We don't wanna go through a process where we lose a lot of muscle, because then when you do get leaner, you're just not going to look as good, right? You want to really focus on keeping as much muscle as possible. So I want to talk about the evidence-based kind of scientific reasons for why I'm going to say what I'm going to say. Now, the first thing that I think we should talk about is the rate of fat loss, because the video is called How Long Does It Take, right? Well, the answer is going to vary from person to person. But my typical rate of fat loss that I suggest is going to be 1% of your body weight per week, right? So if you're a 200-pound man or you're at 215 pounds, you should be setting up a caloric deficit, your cardio and everything, so that you're losing about 2 pounds per week to start. The reason we want to focus on losing 1% of body weight per week is because this is what's been shown in the scientific literature. It allows the Division I athletes that were taking part in studies to actually keep and improve their performance. Any rate of fat loss over that and their performance declined. If you can also look at some of the case studies that have been done in natural bodybuilders where they took this approach and they kept their lean body mass throughout the process. Okay, so first and foremost, give yourself enough time. So that begs the question, what body fat percentage is shredded? Listen, body fat percentages, there's really no well-defined way to do it, okay? You can get it tested many different ways and you get many different numbers. I think the most important thing for me is, as a coach, is the visual look. And typically when I get my body fat tested and I have the visual look of being shredded, it's about 7.65%, somewhere in there, depending on the type of testing that you're doing. So you need to give yourself enough time. You can do some quick math on what body fat percentage you're at based on the testing measure that you get done. Now, I would typically suggest, and what I did with the transformation challenge is that I actually had one of my coaches, Brooke, and I did a video on this a couple days ago, come into the office. We did an ultrasound and skin fold test, tested me at about 17.3% body fat. And so I'm going to use that same test at 45 and 90 days to see how much body fat I lose and how much muscle I gain, because I am going to build muscle and lose fat at the same time, right? So you don't have to think of shredding or going through a shredding diet as one where you're just going to lose muscle. In fact, you should be gaining muscle through the majority of that process, okay? Only at the very end should it become trouble to build muscle. So when it comes to losing weight or body fat at the appropriate rate, the things I really like to focus on are a well-balanced approach, okay? I like to create a caloric deficit through movement, usually low intensity, steady state cardio, unless someone is kind of enjoying something else like high intensity cardio, or they're, taking place in like a martial arts class or boxing or something like this. Those burn a lot of calories. In fact, I'll tell you a little story. I had a client of mine, she was stuck. She was not losing weight, and we had adjusted her calories several times, and we had actually added cardio. And then she checked in one week and she was down like 3 pounds. And I said, what did you do different? And she said, oh, I got a new job. I am now, get this, a cocktail waitress in a casino. So she was on her feet for hours and she dropped all this weight. So typically you could look at something like that and say, well, she was just moving more. That's what it takes to lose weight. And as a coach, I'm always looking for why things happen. Ultimately, that's what did it for her, was just being on her feet more. We tend to start to conserve energy when we start losing body fat. So keep that in mind, okay? If you're reducing calories and you're adding cardio, but you're just conserving energy the rest of the day, you're not gonna be dropping weight. So that's it, guys. How long does it take to get shredded? I typically give myself about 20 to 24 weeks to get shredded, okay? Why? Because I don't wanna rush the process. I wanna keep as much muscle as possible. I wanna include refeeds. I want to include diet breaks, and if you don't know what either of those are, I have videos on those as well, okay? So for anyone that's over 10% body fat, it's gonna take a few months, okay? If you're already 10, 11% body fat, you can probably get to that shredded time in 6 to 8 weeks, right? Just depends where we're at. How long does it take to get shredded? Depends where you're at, but don't rush it, I promise you. If you wanna maintain it and you wanna enjoy it, when you get there, do not crash diet. You'll lose muscle, you'll rebound poorly, and it will make the experience much worse. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. Hopefully this answers your question, then I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.